Alright. Hello. This is me fiddling with the settings. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't really like it if everything changes all the time. Fucking hell. Like, seriously. What is wrong with all of this? What is wrong with my mood? Something that I really dislike is trying to act like I feel in a way that I don't feel like. So right now I'm sitting in my room and I felt like I somehow have energy to do something and somehow I don't. So right now I'm planning ahead. I'm planning for the month of August, and I said to myself that I want to do this despite my ongoing struggle. And although by other men, like heartbreak, feeling of heartbreak is not really a valid reason to feel terrible, but I can say that I feel terrible every time I go through a breakup. I just have to suffer a lot and I hate it. And the fact that it is beneficial for me doesn't really change the fact that I still hate it. Because I just want to be at a point where I don't have to suffer through these feelings anymore. And usually right now I would have masturbated. I can guarantee you I would have done that. I just made another painting. But inside of me it's like this emptiness. And I was going through the motion of actually masturbating. I was already trying to envision myself like going onto a homepage, watching porn, and I thought, well, it's kind of the same thing I'm always doing. You know, every time I feel a bit shit, suddenly I have a reason. Oh yeah, you can grant yourself this one last time. But what if, for example, you grant yourself this one last time and then suddenly somebody calls you and wants to set up a date? Then you always have this shit, you know, if I would have just managed 5 more minutes, if I would have just managed 1 more hour, I could have felt better about going to that date. I could have felt like, yeah, you know, it actually paid off to wait. So what if you wait with masturbation long enough until you get to a point where you don't have to anymore because suddenly there's somebody in your life that actually loves you and where you can spend like beautiful sexual time together? Wouldn't that be something worth waiting for? What do you say? I think it would be. I think it would be something worth waiting for because sexuality with an actual woman is so much nicer than just to look at other people having sex. Like, why am I looking at this? Seriously, what's the purpose? Why am I looking at other people having sex? Because I don't have it. I want to have sex. But watching other people having sex is not gonna get me closer to having sex, because my entire energy reservoir, which I would have to maybe pick up a nice, beautiful woman that actually wants to spend time with me, goes down the drain as soon as I masturbate. And I'm not talking about one night stands here. I mean, you could say whatever gets you going, but from my perspective, and that is the energetic perspective, one night stands are terrible. And you can see that energetically, but you can also see that emotionally, because no matter what you're trying to tell yourself, there's always an exchange. And imagine having a one night stand and you actually turn out to really, have feelings for that person, but for that person it was just a one night stand because all she wanted was sex, or all he wanted was sex. And for you it would have been more. So wouldn't it be worth waiting to have sex so that, first of all, you can save yourself up, and then when you do have sex it's actually really amazing because you were looking forward to it for such a long time, and then suddenly it's there and it's really beautiful and nice. So see, this is what I would rather do right now, to talk about this than to masturbate. Because talking about it, recording a video and then uploading it is actually something creative. And I can use that energy to do tons of things. I can train, I can work out, I can paint, I can sing, I can jump around, I can make people laugh, I can make a woman really happy. Or I masturbate once. And then all that energy that I could have used to do all these amazing things is suddenly inside a tissue. And that's just the stuff you see. What you don't see is the energy itself, the creative force of the universe that comes out of your scrotum. I mean, it's the life-giving seed, isn't it? It's what plants life into an egg. Without that, there is no life. It's the male energy. And it's important to maintain it, to preserve it, and to make sure it is being released in the right form and the right time. And what I see in this society is definitely, it's happening too early. People are fooling around at a young age, and it's being told that it's normal and it should be like this. And I would like to disagree. I think this should happen in a much more controlled way. Because, why do I say that? Because I have a really good intuition. If I see something and if that thing makes me feel sick, like nauseous, I know that it's simply wrong and that it shouldn't happen. And the other day I was in the park and there was a group of teenagers and they all looked like punks or something. They were probably 14, 15. They were all mostly couples. They were cuddling and pretending to be lovers and stuff. But you could just tell they weren't ready for any of this. And most of them will end up completely heartbroken after that. And then the kissing in public, and to me it's just disgusting. And it's not because I'm prude, and it's not because I'm old-fashioned. It's because there's a right way of doing things and there's a wrong way of doing things. And just as I believe eating meat in the way that we eat meat today is wrong, there would also be a more right way to eat meat. I don't really want to eat meat at all anymore, but that's just my personal choice because I've realized that I have no need for it. I don't need to kill an animal in order to survive. I have more energy than all these men that talk about, oh, I have to eat meat. Well, I don't eat meat ever. I mostly live vegan. And I can tell you, I can probably jump much higher than you can. I can probably do a lot of more things than you do. And then listening to people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who in his later years had problems with his heart, and now he has this machine that keeps his heart going, and he switched to a more vegan diet because he said what he was doing back then was basically suicide. So yes, there is a right way of doing things and there's a wrong way of doing things. And I happen to be a bit smart about how to do things. And when I see these teenagers, these children, fooling around with something that is actually sacred, like there's cultures where this would not be allowed, and I believe it should not be allowed. And that is just the entire sexualization of this society that we think is so much more advanced than other cultures that we call like savages or the indigenous tribes or something. And we look at them and we think they're like animals. It's actually us. It's actually we. We are like animals. Because we eat like animals, we eat way too much, we eat all the wrong stuff, we think like animals when we see a woman. Do you think these chiefs and these warriors and these men in these tribes like constantly walk around with a boner, thinking about hitting everything that walks? Do you think like when a woman has like her menstruation or something, they can't control themselves anymore? That's just complete nonsense. They are more civilized than we are. Because they're also a community. They work together. They create life together. Whereas here in this so-called Western world, we are all a bunch of selfish assholes. Everybody just cares about themselves. And that's just what masturbation is. It's like the pinnacle of selfishness. And that's the way people also have sex. They're only concerned about their own orgasm. Why do you think so many women fake orgasms? Because the men actually don't give a shit. If you are a caring man who really wants to love the woman, then you know if she would be faking it. And she wouldn't be faking it because you would make sure that she would like it. Because you would pay attention not to the sounds she makes only, but to the way she like tenses up and closes her eyes, and like in the way her breathing increases, like she actually enjoys what's happening. And I believe that it's unnecessary for teenagers to have any of these experiences. I believe sexuality should be something that you wait for until you find one person that you decide to spend the rest of your life with, and you actually make a commitment to each other. And then you stick with it. Because what's troubled me a lot is that I thought I had to have sex with all these women, and I had sex with several women, but it never really changed anything. I didn't really feel much different because I had sex in the moment, but a couple of weeks later I wanted another woman. And what will happen when you are once going towards marriage? Are you always looking after all these women? Like I see so many married men, although they're married, they always look at other women's butts and think of them in a sexual way? Is that the way you want to be as a man? Do you think this is how a real man should be like? Don't you think a real man should be faithful? Do you think cheating only starts when you actually connect physically? Isn't cheating already something that happens in the mind? Because I can imagine having sex with a woman and it's pretty accurate. I can also dream about having sex with women and it's also pretty accurate. So it's a choice of where I send my energy to. And when I watch porn, I'm just wasting my entire potential. And from a spiritual perspective, it's certainly like sinful behavior. It's destructive. It's destructive to your own nature. And that's why I always made sure to be honest about it. Also, I write it in my books when I masturbate. I write about it because in this way I cannot escape it anymore. I've just said it. So when I do it, I have to put it in there. So if I don't want to write about it anymore, then I should start to show some strength of character. Which I have, I know. Just sometimes it gets so boring because nobody really ever understands what I'm talking about. That's what I have the feeling. And that's frustrating. Life gets boring if you're the only free person. If everybody's like trapped in their fears, you at one point you lose interest in being free. Then you rather be back in prison because that's where everybody else is. So it's about working yourself out of this prison and then make sure that other people are coming with you. So I can say from my experience, I'm working at a greater speed than most people that I know of. I have great determination. I don't know many people who are like this. Like in terms of spiritual growth and development. I don't know many people who are as determined as I am. Like constantly improving, constantly letting go of things, constantly reflecting on observing of what is going on. I don't know many people who are like this. I don't know many people who try to get rid of all their addictions. I don't know many people who are like this. So even when I masturbate, I observe myself masturbating. Maybe I should say even when I did masturbate, because hopefully it's a thing from the past now. Well, time will show if I manage. Because every time I feel like I want to masturbate, I should rather do something creative. And that's bloody hard. Because masturbation in a way is also nice. You look at these images, you look at these soft breasts. But it's always so short. Like, imagine you have sex with a woman and you have all of this, but real. And afterwards you can actually cuddle. And you wake up together and you could have sex again. And that's actually the kind of energy exchange. You see, it's an exchange. You get something, she gets something. And the next day you wake up, you feel actually more energized if you have sex in the right way. In the non-selfish way. In the, I want to give you as much as she wants to give me. So you're caring for the other person's well-being. And this is something that you can only have, I believe, when you're determined to spend time with each other for the rest of your lives. Instead of just having a quick dosage of, oh, I would like to forget my problems and have sex now. Because that is truly meaningless. Because I don't have to have sex to forget my problems. I can eat half a jar of peanut butter and I can forget my problems. I can eat pancakes, that can be quite nice. I can drink coffee. That's my struggle also now. You know, now I'm struggling between either masturbating or drinking coffee, and both is quite appealing. But I think I'd rather drink coffee than masturbate, because drinking coffee makes me at least like do something. But yeah, in a way it's the same thing. And I'm trying to go without, because I know on the long run coffee drains me. But yeah, it's a trap. As soon as I drink one, I want more, and that's just, it's tough to figure these things out for yourself. It's tough. Because there's nobody that tells you anything. You just have to go like blindfolded, slacklining blindfolded in the dark. And then you feel bloody tired. Like, I've been staring on that screen probably 80% of the last couple of days. I mean, I'm writing a new book. And it's taking a lot of time, and I'm writing a lot, and my eyes are hurting. Bloody hell. So, in a way, I'm really tired and exhausted. But I also have so much energy. So I have to do something with it. Because I don't want to just waste it again. I actually want to create something. To get out of this room, to have my own place and stuff. So you see what I'm getting at? It's hard work, spirituality. It's hard work. It's not fooling around. It's not goofing around. It's like constant correction of behaviors that are unhealthy. Constant letting go of things that you may have done for most of your life, like behaviors that don't suit you anymore. Suddenly you have to let them go. And this is it for today. See, it's just spontaneous. It's just something that wants to come out, and once it's out, it becomes easier. And now I have to quickly maybe go outside, because otherwise, you know, I'll check one of these homepages out. I really don't want that. Cheers.